Unless you guys have questions for him. If you saw him play Numo, you definitely have no questions.
Yeah, let Brian go.
Brian, go ahead.
Not just the way your three seniors played down the stretch. That's kind of the perfect senior day story.
Yeah, all three of them made significant plays. Trevion was able to get some rebounds. He made his first 2 free throws, got a couple baskets. Sasha made the big 3, but Eric Hunter really made some nice plays. I know he missed that last one, but it was a really good decision and a really good drive. And that's kind of what was there for us, is some of those open drives that didn't involve Jay Knight. They did a great job, Indiana, of really loading up on him and making it difficult. You have to give them credit for them. But no, Trevion, Eric, and Sasha all, really contributed to this victory.
Yeah, Coach, second chance points, 15-2. I know you're a bigger team, but just the want-to on that, the fact that it seemed to spring particularly early, a lot of baskets in the first half of second chance.
Right. I thought Mason had a couple of those plays early that he kept alive. Zach has 4 offensive rebounds. Trevion has a couple, but Eric and Jaden also have a couple. Being able to get on the glass and just keep getting those possessions, and not turning the ball over. Both teams did a good job of not, having a high number of turnovers, but. Just trying to scrap. We had the game, when we're up 13 there in that first half, where we had some possessions to push the game out a little bit and give Indiana credit because we weren't able to do that. But we had some shots there that we, like to get back that were pretty open. Some of them are kind of the reloads, the offensive rebound kickouts when it's tough to match up.
Is that your phone?
It's not mine. I don't have my phone on me.
Yeah.
There you go.
Talked yesterday just the value of having Mason on the floor for extended periods, and just not only the rebounds, just how he kept plays alive.
Right.
That led to pretty important baskets.
Yeah, he's got a motor, and sometimes with that, like if somebody gets in his way, he'll truck him and get some of those fouls. But no, he's very active, and his ability to keep plays alive, really helps us. And, just not having him in some stretches in the last couple games, when you look back, you wish he could be out there more, and tonight he was.
Coach, you spoke about the good plays from your seniors down the stretch, but Trevion's defense on the inbounds play there, just his ability to kind of process everything in front of him and get that deflection, just what does it say about the defender that he is?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that. I didn't mention that, but that was a huge play. He's gotten that position before, and you get stuck a little bit when you have somebody that can jump off a trampoline like Tre Davis, and then you have a guard who's really getting into the paint and really putting you in a bind. So you're playing him in between because you really want him to shoot that tough floater. You want to keep him away from the threes and the dunks, but Tre Davis is so good at diving right there. They really put you in the mix. But Trevion did a great job on that play of just having active hands and then getting that steal for us.
What did you see happening on the stretch of 5 turnovers and 6 possessions?
In what stretch?
The stretch of 5 turnovers and 6 possessions.
In the second half?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just kind of lost our way like a couple times. Just they did a good job of overloading, and just making it tough and just loading up when we were driving the basketball. And then we just didn't make simple plays. We thread the needle on one, another one, a guy's open, but then we wait for him to get covered, and just that's it's been a little bit of an Achilles for us, is when we get guys that just don't make the simple play. And when we try to overdo things, when they put 2 to 3 people on the basketball and don't make simple passes, we get in trouble. So it was nothing complex. It was just guys, not getting the ball out of their hands or trying to overdo something.
Matt, with those one possession losses at Michigan State and Wisconsin, when they got up 3 here, came right back and scored the next 3 possessions too. How good did that feel, just that they responded so quickly like that?
Yeah, our issues, in those games, we actually responded in those games and scored. Jaden made a basket, Jaden made a drive. We executed great, and Zach missed that layup against Wisconsin, that little baby hook that he had right there. So that's what you want from your guys. Even if you miss shots, you want to be able to execute and get a good shot. And then right as that happened, our guys did a good job of executing, getting to the free throw line, and then getting open looks.
Matt, 25 wins for the 9th time under your watch. 5th time in 6 years. You have your best record at home. You're making some things second nature here that are impossible for other folks. Your thoughts on those accomplishments?
Well, I think we have a great advantage, just like Indiana has an advantage when you play at home. Getting a team and trying to build and keep developing and having older players along with that environment helps a lot. So, we have some older guys on our team. We have some experience. We have some really talented younger guys too. And I think that's the mix in college basketball. It's going to be harder for people to get older and stay older, but that's the key. If you can get old and stay old, and you got guys, I got 2 guys that have been with me for 4 years, another guy's been with me for 5. And so like they understand, they get it. And that's the key. And not everybody's having it. You see a lot of people running out in college basketball, just, it's like trading baseball cards. They're, guys are playing on 2, 3, 4 teams in their college career. And it's not that they're not good players or they have the right to do it, but how are you supposed to build and develop? How are the Spurs supposed to be great with that run without having those guys stay, with that organization? But we have a great environment, and we have an unbelievable advantage. I think playing here, our fans really give us an advantage.
Matt, up 2 with Williams at the free throw line. He misses 2 free throws, and Johnson grabs a rebound. What's going through your mind with the chance for Indiana to win it?
Well, when I was talking about the previous one and that one, we're gonna make one of those, we're gonna foul at half court. So I'm just making sure our guys know that we don't lose our mind if we make 2 or lose 2 and we go to foul. Like I'm just, that's always my concern right there is, we do something really stupid and foul and it's 2 or 4. It's got to be a 3. We've got to wait for them to get to half. So that was, if he was making that last one, I was trying to get our 4 to go pick the ball up so they wouldn't have a clean pass up the court. And then once it didn't happen and then they miss, I was just yelling no 3s. Like, make him drive. Like no 3s, stay at home on the 3, make it difficult for him. And then I don't know what happened right there. I kind of took my eye, I'm looking right at it, and he has a lane to go, and he's at half court. I don't know if he tried to like get into him and he got fouled, or he like jumped, but he's at 50 feet, he's at 45 feet. He's in that kind of like, you're not gonna shoot it at that point. And so I gotta go back and watch to kind of see what happened right there. But I was just trying not to lose that game right there. But like when you got a guy that's a shifty Xavier Johnson, that's where you're in danger, because like he can cross somebody over real quick and then just have a 3. And so that's why you should, not put yourself in that position.
Matt, you're now in the tournament time, one tournament and then another. How do you feel right now about where you are? Do you feel good about where this team is?
You're as a coach, you're always greedy. You want to be better. You want to. I thought we put ourselves in a really good position in that second half after we put ourselves in a good position in the first half. Like we just had some extreme runs there, for and against us. And then when we subbed, it just kind of happened at that time. And then I took those guys out, put those guys in, and just stayed with them. And I felt you feel bad about that because you like those guys, but that mix just didn't work in that stretch. So just trying to get consistency. I know we're 25-6, and we're going to be 2nd or 3rd in our league, whatever we end up in our league, and going into the Big Ten tournament. But I feel like if we can give ourselves a chance and not turn the basketball over, I like our chances. Doesn't mean we can't get beat in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament, the first round of the NCAA tournament. But when we take care of the basketball, we give ourselves a pretty good chance to win the game. And it's not the only thing that matters. I've thought our defense has been better, here the past couple of weeks. We're still not, where I think we need to be. So we just got to keep working. So, but a lot of it depends on like who we match up to in the Big Ten tournament, like who we match up to in the NCAA tournament. Those matchups are going to be important. But you can still, do the constants. You can still take care of the ball. You can still rebound. You can still help each other out.
Coach, and going back to Johnson's shot, they put time back on the clock, and now you guys have to regroup and reset and get the ball back in. Just how much confidence did you have in Tre to make that play? Because there's some things that could go wrong. I know it's not a lot of time, but is he the person you want to have the ball in his hands to inbound it in that moment? Yeah,
he's obviously he's a really good passer. At point 3, they can't shoot the basketball, so you got to understand that. So a lot of people think you should throw it long, and it's actually the last thing you should do, because you throw it long and no one touches it, the ball comes back to the where we were taking the ball out, and now they could throw a lob play and tip it in. So it's the last thing you want. You'd rather hand the ball to them than throw the ball at the other end, because if you hand the ball to them, they're not going to just tip it from out of bounds. They got to turn and shoot it. So you absolutely can't shoot the ball in. You can tip it or tap it in at that time. So that's what we call the timeout, just to make sure no matter what you do, at the worst, if you want to throw it at his ankles, throw it at his ankles. If you want to hand him the ball, hand him the ball. But we're going to obviously cut and just pass the ball to each other and finish the game. So that's what we were discussing. We were just explaining the rule to him.
Last one, Brian.
Did a pretty good job bottling up Johnson for 16 minutes and then started working on that high ball screen for Trace. What were the challenges in that?
Yeah, we wanted to down some of them after he got going for a while, and then we had a couple guards like mess it up. One of our guards downed on his own, and that's when you saw Miller Kopp's 3 that he hit. We just botched that whole play. So we were just trying to box him in to the best of the ability. When you box people in and you down them like that, and you got an athletic big, you can't let him behind you, because if you let him behind you, they're going to throw those lobs as they drag your big guy down, but you're not letting him get into the middle of the floor. So we were really trying to get Xavier Johnson into as many pull-ups and floaters as possible and not let him get to the rim. And he obviously got to the rim a couple times on that. Trace made it really good on a snake. Trace made it really good, they call it Gorton, in terms of just blasting that guy at the rim, and then he snaked it and got that layup. He did a good job, you know, with that. So that's all we were trying to get accomplished there. But he's a good player. Xavier Johnson's very shifty, and when he takes good shots, man, he really puts you in a bind.
Just one more super quick.
Yeah, go ahead. It don't matter.
5 years ago, when you talked to Sasha about redshirting, you said that he could help you a lot more in 2022 than he could in 2017. When you look back on all he's done this year for you in this 5th year, does that sort of put the stamp on why you redshirt guys and hoping to get stuff out of them down the road?
Yeah, no question. You're going to be better when you're 22, 23 years old versus being 18 or 19. I think that's an easy thing. And then you come into college basketball and you don't lose your confidence. Like, you know, some people are physically overmatched when they get there, and then people deem them not good enough. They're good enough, they're just physically not ready. And so it's, you know, you got 4 or 5 years experience on somebody, and then you got, you know, a physical advantage. So you just got to kind of catch up to speed with knowing what's going on in a program and then developing physically. But you don't lose your confidence when you don't play and you redshirt. So if you just don't play and you sit the bench and you burn a year, like, you know, you got the small man in your ear, you know, telling you you're not quite there, you're not quite good enough. And that's not the case. And so I'm a big believer in you become what the head coach thinks of you. And when I watched him, I thought he was a good player. And so I've coached low major basketball, mid major basketball, high major basketball. And if you're good, you're good. I don't like to label guys. I hate the numbers. The numbers stink. You know, anybody in this room can tell us who the top 20 players in the country are. But from 21 to 500, I mean, Zach Edey's like in the 300s. And how foolish are they? Chris Kramer is like 430. Like, the only thing those two guys have done is win basketball games here. I don't know what Sasha was ranked, and I could care less. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Like, if you sign with the school and you're like, it's a blue blood, and you were 27, you're automatically 16. Like, how does that work? You sign with a non-blue blood and you're 45, and all of a sudden you're 74, and it's like, it's ridiculous. You'd be amazed that you see people in the 30s, and there's some guys not even ranked, and you're like, you don't. It's like Indiana, like Rob Finney. Like, I loved Rob Finney. I thought he was great. I thought he was a winner. He had a lot of winning qualities about him. Like, when you rank guys, you can't judge what's in their heart. When you go and recruit them and spend time with them and see them, like, you see that. That's the evaluation is your work ethic. You know, do you have any baggage? Like, you know, just because things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. So to get a guy like that who just wants to help Purdue win and can make shots and can move and can pass, you know, that's fun. He's got heavy feet, but that's okay. It's a lot of good people with heavy feet. So,
hey Matt, let's talk about the legacy of Purdue. Coach Katie in the house today, senior day. I mean, a lot of schools go through a lot of coaches, and you guys have, you know, together it's kind of very unusual. What do you think about your legacy here, or just the legacy of basketball coaches at Purdue? Where do you fit in?
Well, I'm fortunate because I have a blueprint to go by. You know, he laid the blueprint, whether, you know, academics, you know, how to handle things socially, how to handle things within your program. You know, I worked for, you know, 3 of the 4 people that coached me. And so, like, traveling with those guys and hearing stories, and you think you know so much when you're 21 years old. And then as you get to be 31 and you get 8, 9, 10 years under your belt coaching, you realize you do very little. And you still realize you know very little. Like, you know, everything will humble you. You know, the game will humble you. And so, but no, we had a great blueprint from Coach Katie and how to run a program. Like, anybody can have a good team, but can you consistently have a good team? Can you consistently try to do things the right way? Because not everybody's perfect. You're not going to have things happen perfectly, especially socially. You know, you take 15 to 17, 19 to 22-year-olds in any fashion, anything that they do, like, something's bound to happen here. Like, it's just the way it rolls. So you got to do a lot of things to try to do from a prevention standpoint to help those guys you know, so they don't put themselves in there. And it all comes back to Coach Katie, and Coach Katie was actually great. Like, you know, you'd mess up or you would do something, and you know, he would obviously have some discipline, but he would always stand by you. And that's something that we try to do with our guys, but also hold them accountable. I think tell them the truth. They might not like. I don't think every one of our guys likes me, and that's all right. But that's not what you're there for. They got a bunch of people out there that like them. You know, they don't need one more. You know, they need someone to hold them accountable and tell them the truth. So, thank you.
Thanks, man. Okay, no zone defense.